Welcome to Five or Flop, a podcast for the best and worst historical fiction has to offer. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm Erin, and usually each week we're reading a different historical fiction book to see if they're a five or a flop, but you've caught us in between seasons, so it is bonus episode time.
Yes, this is, I guess, the first bonus episode. We haven't talked about what order we're putting them out in.
You know, we haven't planned much. We didn't write a script for this episode, no notes. We're just chit-chatting. So we're going to be determining the order of things as we go.
Okay.
But what are we discussing today?
We have watched a film, as we love to do. In this case, it is The Letter, which is based on a short story written by Somerset Maugham that featured in The House of Doors, which we read this season.
Yes, which, if you remember, I think that was Grace's lowest ranked book of the season, potentially of the pod. It's up there.
That was one of the few books we agreed on in our end of season rankings that it was second to worst.
Yes.
I liked 30 Names of Night less, and I forget which one you hate. Persian Boy, probably?
Probably The Persian Boy. I think so.
Who's to say?
Yeah, who's to say?
The rest of season 4 is in our past. We're looking forward now into our future.
Exactly. But yeah, so this was low-rated book. We were very interested to see how the movie would go because it is Bette Davis, so it is probably considered like a classic.
Yeah, this is this is, I think, the oldest film that we've watched for a bonus episode. It came out in 1940.
Oh, by far this is I think the other oldest is Snowflower.
Okay, yeah. This was black and white, starring Bette Davis. We wanted to watch the 1950 Johnny Tremain movie, but we were unable to do so.
Unsuccessful.
Yeah. We were approaching this, we're going to talk about the movie, and then also every piece of the letter-related media that we have encountered.
The Letter extended universe.
The Letter, yeah, exactly. They all have different endings, and it's based on like a real-life court case.
Yes.
So,
and I think the book was the closest. I mean, I didn't read I skimmed the short story during work today.
Yeah, I read the short story. It's only about 20 pages if you want to look it up online.
It wasn't crazy.
No. And it was, we can maybe at the end rank the various parts of the Letter cinematic universe.
Yes. But before we get started, what's new with you? How's it going?
It's going well. Listen, summer's wrapping up and I'm so excited for fall now that I'm done with all my travel. Mm-hmm. And it's been like vaguely chilly this week. Yes. I'm so ready for fall. But we had a very important event in the Erin cinematic universe this past weekend.
It is true. Me and Jen, if you remember from Daughters of the Deer episode, and maybe the next season, ? Anyways, we had a joint Survivor-themed birthday party this weekend, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was absolutely fabulous. You guys pulled it off amazingly.
And you know what? Most of that was planned the Tuesday before the party, just Tuesday night before.
The planning was impeccable, and also you had to order some stuff. Like, there were props and costumes involved.
Each Jen and I did like a pretty big Amazon order to get some stuff. I will say Hannah, who is famously the baker in our friend group, I think she really outdid herself, not only in terms of flavor of the dessert, which was a chocolate cake, but in design. Like, she made it look like a whole island. It was really nice looking.
In terms of five or flop, it was one of her top fives.
I would say so.
And she's never had a flop.
No, she's never had a flop. She's not always like aiming for a design. Sometimes it's like cookies or just like a plain cake, which is, just as delicious.
It's like when you go on Bake Off and they tell you have the substance but not the style. But she brought the substance and the style.
And it was delicious. And we had a really, really lovely time. And my actual birthday is this upcoming Sunday, which will have passed by the time this episode is released.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
In the future and the past.
Thank you. Are you reading anything? Now that you're probably catching up on fun reading, now that we're between...
That's what I was doing in theory. Unfortunately, I'm having a bad reading time right now.
Oh, no.
You know how yesterday I told you I was reading a nonfiction book about submersibles?
Yeah. You're so excited. No!
It sucks. It's called Submersed by Matthew Gavin Frank. Okay. He's written some other books. I'm not going to read those. All I'll say about it is, if you, in your heart, want to be a poet, don't write a nonfiction book. Just write poems.
Yeah.
I don't want to crawl my way through a bunch of useless prose to find out actual interesting things about submarines. So I'm a little sad about that. I probably will finish it because I bought it like an idiot.
Oh, so if you spend money, you have to.
I know. Luckily, I got it on sale because this past week was the Lost City annual summer sale.
Yes, I did see that on Twitter.
Yeah. So.
Did I go? No, I didn't, but that's okay.
Well, I live closer to it than you do.
Yeah, that is true.
But anyway, so that's a bummer. What about you? You've been reading up a storm.
I read a lot yesterday just because it wasn't even that good of a book. I just like whipped through it. It's just one of those ones that are quick to read. It was called Count My Lies, which was a book of the month club. I don't know when I got it. I typically go for like the mystery thriller-y ones. Mm-hmm. This one had probably my biggest pet peeve in any book, which you are well aware of.
Oh,
which
yes.
Some of our TikTok followers, which we have not touched our TikTok in maybe a year at this point, some of them might be familiar with. And this is coming from someone who loves Taylor Swift. Like, Taylor Swift is my favorite artist. And it's not just about Taylor Swift, but, you know, the cultural atmosphere right now. It's mostly about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
When authors just kind of pack in so many pop cultural references into their book, I got to a span in that book where within 30 pages, there were 4 different Taylor Swift songs name dropped and a paragraph about the Eras Tour.
And that's just ridiculous.
It's too much. It dates your book.
It doesn't contribute to anything in terms of the characterization or the narrative. It's like a shortcut to try to communicate with like a very small subset of your audience that's going to like that.
Exactly. And I love Taylor Swift and I don't like that and I don't want that in my books.
Yeah.
But overall, the book was enjoyable. It was fine. Something like that is enough to make me DNF a book, but I had kind of gotten into it already and I could tell it was like 300 pages. It was going to be like one of those really fast moving books. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to read it.
Sometimes it's comforting to read a book that's just mediocre.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I know what I'm getting out of this, and that's okay.
And I'll probably forget that I read it in like 2 weeks from now, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That is fine.
Is that how you felt about the film The Letter?
Absolutely. And what a great segue. The Letter is a movie I truly think I'm going to forget in not much time at all. I think a good way to start with this is to go to my Letterboxd, which I wish we had Letterboxd the entire time we've been recording the pod, so I could keep track of all these movies.
That would be very useful.
But let's start with my thoughts for this one, which was 1.5 stars, and the review was, she just wanted to make her lace.
She was making lace that whole movie.
The entire time, and also in the short story, I know I said I skimmed it, but that really jumped out at me. They're like, she's making her window lace.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In the short story, granted, like I said, the short story is 22 pages. Not that long.
No.
But she makes her lace in it. There's references to her making lace like twice maybe.
Which is, that's like 4 Taylor Swift references in 30 pages.
Exactly. But then in the movie, even right at the end, right before spoilers, she gets murdered. She's making her lace.
Exactly. That is the shot it ends on, I believe. It's the lace on the ground and also the moon 700 times. Okay, I think we need to fill in a lot of gaps.
Yes. So, just to clarify, I feel like for our audience, I want to walk through the various pieces of the Letter cinematic universe. Yes. So first we have the Ethel Proudlock murder case, which is real, which happened in real life. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Letter, the short story, which was written by W. Somerset Maugham, based on the Ethel Proudlock case.
Yes.
He learned about it when he traveled to Penang with his gay lover secretary while they were on the run from England.
Exactly. And actually, as you're saying this, I realized there is a 4th piece of the universe, which we didn't engage with. There's a stage play that is based on the short story.
Gosh. Well, we don't have access to that.
No, we don't. It is much like Several Little Australians. As much as we wish we had access to the stage play, we don't.
Yeah. So we have the film The Letter, which we watched for this episode, which is based on the short story. Mm-hmm. It's not based on, like, the real case. It's based on the short story.
Yes.
And then we have The House of Doors, the book we read for this season, which is about a couple that lives on Penang that's fictional that meets W. Somerset Maugham. But they have the same first and last names as the couple from The Letter in both the short story and the film.
Which, now that I think about it, like, I wish I had known. I feel like if I had known all of this going into The House of Doors, I would have liked The House of Doors better, because I'm like, this is a really complex layer. However, the book still sucked.
Yeah, and then we'll get back to that when we talk about all the various endings, because The House of Doors had the stupidest one, in my opinion. But the film.
Yes.
That's our primary point of discussion today.
With Bette Davis of the JoJo Siwa Bette Davis Eyes cover.
Exactly. I'm so glad that just happened, so we're all reminded of who Bette Davis is in our, like, public cultural consciousness.
And we did get to show it to Santiago and Kat before the movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They enjoyed it very much.
It was like gay music video night.
Exactly.
Bette Davis's eyes really do be wild, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No wonder they have the whole song about them. They're huge. I actually don't think I'd ever seen a Bette Davis film before.
I had not.
Yeah, and I'd heard of her.
Not according to my Letterboxd.
I had very little idea of her person other than the fact that she was, you know, an old Hollywood movie star. But yeah, she's got some big ass eyes.
I had my scattered notes from all these movies we watched. I have one that said, she's making prison sound great. And yet I don't remember that at all.
Oh, I remember there's a scene where like the lawyer goes to visit her in prison and she's again making her lace in prison.
Oh yeah.
And she's just like, oh, it's so restful here and like no one bothers me.
Oh yeah, that was why.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it sounds like a retreat, but no, it's Malaysian prison in 1940, which I doubt was fun.
No, I don't think it was, but they let her keep her lace, which is all she wanted.
Well, that's good.
So then, do you want to talk about the actual plot with the letter itself? Because I don't think this was in House of Doors.
No, it was not really. Because again, it's different from the actual real life murder case in a few pretty significant ways. It's
like the real life murder case was kind of how it played out was more similar to the book, except for the twist ending of the book.
Yeah.
But in this,
because the short story is not about the trial so much as it is the psychological lead up to the trial.
Yes.
So in the letter, the short story and the film, they're very, very similar. Bette Davis, as our main character, in an incredibly abrupt opening scene, strides out onto her veranda and shoots a man dead, like with 6 bullets.
Yes.
And then
not batting an eye.
No. And then when everyone comes to investigate, she says, he's like our neighbor and he came over and tried to assault me and I shot him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, this proper young wife. She's a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone's like, okay, she has to be put on trial for murder as like a matter of technicality, but no one actually believes anything will happen to her. But then it becomes known that there is a letter written from her to the murder victim from that day saying, I have to see you, come over at night. My husband's gone.
And also specifically to park down the hill so no one sees your car.
And that's suspicious.
Super suspicious.
So then she basically says, can we get the letter back? The letter is in the possession of the dead guy's other mistress.
Yes.
And she will sell it for $10,000. Again,
which
1940.
We did the conversion of what it was. It was like, so that was like some crazy amount of money. I don't remember what it was.
It was 6 figures. It was like maybe like $200K or something. Don't quote us on that.
Yes.
They buy the letter back. She is found innocent because the letter is not presented at proof of trial, but she and her husband's lives have basically fallen apart because it is revealed at the end the man that she shot was her lover, and she shot him dead because he was leaving her for a Chinese woman.
So should we talk about the 2 movie endings?
Yes.
Because they gave us the option for alternate endings, which you would think would be important, but it's not.
They were very much the same.
Oh, the exact same thing.
With one crucial difference, which is the ending that ended up getting published, that was in the final movie.
The official ending.
Yeah. Contained an excellent line for Bette Davis, wherein her husband is like, if you still love me, I will like get over this and we can just go back to being married like normal. Which is very nice of him to say after she publicly murdered her lover and then basically took all his money in order to buy this letter.
Exactly.
And then she's like, okay. And then they kiss. And she dramatically rips herself away from the kiss and says, in my heart, I still love the man I killed, which is crazy.
It was really good.
But then they also, in the play, or in the short story, that's just kind of the ending where they both have to go forward knowing that this is their life now. In the movie, you get a much more dramatic ending where the other mistress murders her out of revenge for murdering the lover.
And you get like 7 dramatic shots of her lace on the ground and the moon and like back and forth between the 2 of them.
They took 1 shot of the moon and they were like, we could use this a whole bunch.
They really got their money's worth out of that single moon shot.
Yeah. And I don't know that much about old Hollywood, but I do think it was part of the Hays Code back then that if you had a main character who did something bad, they weren't allowed to get away with it. So I think in the short story when it's like, well, she's been found innocent of this murder and she's cheated on her husband, so she needs to get comeuppance. So in the film, sadly or not, I don't know. In the film, she had to die at the end.
And we went into the alternate ending thinking, oh, maybe she doesn't die in this. No, she still dies. I think there's one last shot of the moon And she doesn't say the line about still being in love with the guy she killed.
Yeah, which is a great dramatic line.
So
I see why they added it in.
I see why they cut the alternate ending. I don't know why it was listed as... It was like, we had to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
This was a DVD bonus feature, and it really didn't need to be a DVD bonus feature because it was not really any extra material. It was just less material.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's helpful for, like, film historians to have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure that they would know about it through some means other than DVD bonus features.
Yeah, I have to assume all of our film history is not being tracked by bonus features.
Yeah, yeah.
Although it'd be great. Do you remember, like, the Disney ones where you could, like, play games and be like, which princess are you?
Yes, absolutely. Good. I associate that a lot with the Barbie movies.
Oh, yeah. Those two. Disney is the one that stands out for me.
Of course.
Specifically the Sleeping Beauty, where it was like, make these crafts with toilet paper rolls. That's the one I vividly remember.
Oh, okay. I have no memory of that one.
Okay, well, you're missing out. Let me tell you. I'm going to hunt that down and we're going to watch that at my birthday.
Okay, great. No problem.
Okay, so let's give a refresher on the book ending. Because the book ending was, in some ways, more aligned with the trial.
Yes. So in real life and in the book, she, I think, was not acquitted by, like, a jury, but she was pardoned by I actually don't remember his title. Sultan?
I don't think that was it. She was
pardoned by the Malaysian government.
Yeah, she was found guilty and pardoned by the Malaysian government. And the people kind of hated her for it because they're like, oh, a white woman, like, having to be pardoned by the government. Like, this is disgraceful.
Yeah.
So then both in the book and in real life, I believe she leaves Malaysia.
And then in the book, Tan Tuan Ang created this thing where she committed the murder and the guy was her lover, but it was because her husband made her commit the murder.
Yeah, because there was, like, blackmail involved and it was some very convoluted...
We did not enjoy it.
No.
So both the letter, film, and short story had better endings. I didn't love the random second murder. Like, I don't think it really added anything to the film.
No.
I liked the introspective, kind of sad ending of the short story where it's like the husband and wife are still married, but they're very clearly going to be destroyed by this. Mm-hmm. I felt like that was impactful, especially only for 20 pages. So,
and I think especially if you tie it back to the book in a sense, and so much of the book was about these couples not wanting to get divorced and, like, what divorce would mean for them. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's just an interesting parallel there in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe the husband in the letter short story was also gay. Who knows?
But here, you led with your Letterboxd review. And you gave it 1.5 stars.
1.5 stars.
Let's elaborate on why.
I just didn't think it was engaging. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't love old Hollywood movies. I really don't. Mm-hmm. I'm also a big subtitles girl. I think the only, like, old Hollywood movie that I really like too, Singing in the Rain, which is kind of newer old Hollywood.
Yeah, that's like 50s, right?
That was 50s. So, like, wouldn't even call that old Hollywood, but also it's like the musical. And in a similar vein, Wizard of Oz, which again is the 30s, but that's not I don't think that is, like, really grouped in with old Hollywood. Yeah. Just because it's such a differentiator.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's a big hint for next season. The letter came out in 1940, and we're going to be watching a movie for one of next season's books that came out the year before, and they're very different. Okay. It's night and day. Yeah.
All right. I'm
this
excited.
one was still in black and white, which was fun.
Yeah.
Interesting and notable, but also kind of fun.
I just, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just this whole story in general, like, I just don't care for.
Yeah. I don't think it was paced the best. It was not a long film, but we were, like, checking the time. We had Kat with us, and she kept aggressively checking the time.
Yeah, it felt very, very long.
But I think all the actors did a good job.
Yeah,
Bette Davis was very good. And then the lawyer and the husband were also both pretty good.
The lawyer fucking hated her.
Oh my gosh.
So much.
The biggest plot hole in all of this is when she's like, will you buy the letter for me so I don't get hanged for murder? And he's like, how dare you suggest that I risk my professional reputation to do that illegal thing? And then she just goes, please. And then he does it.
And then he's like, absolutely.
And then he's like, fine.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of like a weak storyline in general. And I think the murder at the end really cheapened it for me too.
Yeah. The pacing is the biggest thing. Like, it starts, the most engaging scene is in the beginning when Bette Davis comes out of the house with no warning and shoots that guy. And then it's kind of downhill from there.
I will say, we can't really trust my Letterboxd as like a really good gauge of quality of anything. So there's that. I think my Storygraph is a more accurate rating system.
I do have a question because I don't have Letterboxd.
Yes.
Does a film on Letterboxd show like an average rating from all users like Storygraph does?
Yes, it does. Hang on. Average rating of 3.7 versus, let me find... Okay, so we watched Jurassic Park, the original, recently, which is
everyone loves that
good.
movie.
That has a 4.1. So it's kind of, it's, I mean, it's all biased, right? And Letterboxd, I would say, is even more biased than like Storygraph because a lot of the reviews are like jokey, which is, I texted you and Kat, I'm like, I wish Storygraph was like this because I would have a lot to say on there. So a lot of them are just like short and snappy and not meant to be serious. So it's not like the
be-all, end-all.
Be-all, end-all.
But it's an accurate reflection of this is a movie that you didn't like.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. I didn't love it. The short story, like I said, I skimmed it, so I can't say too much about it. What's interesting to me is I do find the court case really like the real-life story really interesting, and I think it could be a really interesting story, and I don't think any of these adaptations...
Yeah, well, there's also the interesting aspect that we haven't even discussed, which is in this short story, the whole concept of the letter... It is never introduced at trial because they successfully buy it and destroy it. So in real life, like there was no letter.
Yeah.
You know, there was nothing that part of it is based off of. So we have no idea. Frankly, I assume that the guy that she killed, she was having an affair with because kind of why else would you shoot this random guy? But we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, because she says that he wasn't. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's it.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I appreciate what Somerset Maugham was seeking out to do here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it really worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
But always love watching movies with friends.
I do have one thing that actually I didn't know, but I feel like if we were more old film buffs, I would have called out right away.
Okay.
It's interesting when you see the movie and read the story. In the film, the guy who's murdered, he has kind of recently been somewhat ostracized from white society because he has married a woman who is half white and half Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the one that's in the possession of the letter.
Yes.
But in the story, she's not his wife. She's just his mistress. And she is not white at all. She's only Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, that's an interesting thing that when they were like, we're going to adapt this story to film, you can't have, not only can you not have the suggestion that she is his mistress, which is interesting because the Bette Davis character is also his mistress.
Yeah.
They were just like, you maximum of one.
Yeah.
Or like you can only be a mistress if you get murdered at the end. Exactly. And we don't want to murder two women at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then also that they were like, she has to be half white, which is really interesting because they costumed her to be like extremely like South Asian looking.
Yes.
Like she was dripping in a ton of gold jewelry that all the other characters comment on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's very clearly like not Western European style jewelry. So I'm just like, that's a very interesting thing that they added this extra dialogue to be like, this woman is half white and she is legally married. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like, I would like to think there was a good reason and not just like what is probably true, which is for some form of racism that I'm sure if we dug slightly deeper would be very obvious.
Well, I also don't know if you caught in your skimming of the story that the Chinese character that's the like assistant that works at the office, the law office, whenever he says the word friend, W. Somerset Maugham writes it with an L instead of an R.
Yeah.
That was bad. That was very bad.
Didn't love it. And I did catch that.
I grated on me every time I caught it, which was a lot. And it was only the word friend. It was not any of the other words that contain the letter R.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a weird... It was bad. It was really bad.
Oh, I hate that so much.
So I probably won't read any other W. Somerset Maugham, but like this story was actually not that bad. The film, I didn't dislike it as much as everyone else did.
Everyone else in the film, not a fan.
It was not amazing. I would have enjoyed it much less had I been watching it by myself than with pals.
Exactly.
But yeah, it wasn't the best thing in the world.
You know what would have made it much better?
What?
A Hugh Jackman musical number.
Who would Hugh Jackman and Jonathan Bailey play?
Oh my god, Hugh Jackman would be...
I feel like Hugh Jackman would have to be the husband and Jonathan Bailey would have to be the lawyer.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, because there's no other characters other than the lover who has no lines of dialogue and gets shot immediately.
And I think that's a better casting because I see Jonathan Bailey just getting so frazzled over this woman. trying to defend her and be like, you're the worst person in the world.
On his last nerve.
Exactly.
Oh, man. And Hugh Jackman, this is going to sound like an insult, but it's not. I think he plays stupid pretty well.
Oh, I think he does too.
And that's demanded of him in his role as the husband.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, this is our first film of the season, of the bonus season.
First film with more to come, ? We don't reveal these episodes ahead of time, so you'll have to wait and see. However, we will be revealing the next bonus episode, which is...
ranking all our award winners.
So if you want a fun recap of all the awards, if you want us to stop trying to remember who won the Pulitzer Prize, because now we'll have a list saved in our Google Drive.
That we can refer to. Exactly.
Tune in next time. But until then...
you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @5orflop_pod. And we still have all of our past Storygraph reading challenges for seasons 1, 2, and 3, and 4 up on our Storygraph.
And I finally updated our link tree to not link to the season 1, which is great. You can also email us at 5orfloppodcast should you have any inquiries, other movie recommendations, thoughts on JoJo Siwa's Bette Davis eyes. We're welcome to all of the above. Or you can submit books through our recommendation form in our bio.
And until next time,
happy watching!
Bye!